Hey, you clicked on it, so I know you've got some interest in being a landowner, buying land, the process, all that's involved with that. Well, the video you're about to watch is me interviewing a colleague. He is a top land broker here in the country, and he and I are friends. We got a lot of the same philosophies. You're going to learn a ton from listening to this guy. It's going to help you being a buyer for rural real estate. Hey, I'm sitting here with Jonathan Goode. He's a broker from Alabama and Mississippi. His perspective, his tips, his ideas on what a first-time land buyer ought to do and think about as they go into a rural real estate purchase. Take us through it, man. What do you tell first-time people?
Well, there are some things that are necessary regardless of where you're buying land, and the first one we deal with is where do you want to be? That's going to make a big difference. And then what's the intended use? That's something we always deal with. What do you want to do with the place? And being able to articulate what your goals are for a piece of property. One that's always important is how you're going to pay for it. Are you going to do cash? You're going to do financing? And then also, when do you want to do it? Be able to articulate those things when you make a phone call to Pat or me or any other agent is where do you want to be? What do you want to do with the place? How are you going to pay for it? How much acreage? Those are the kinds of things that kind of kick us off in the right direction. It helps point us where we need to go.
You need to ask yourself a question that's kind of got three parts. Why land? Why now? And what then? It basically what Jonathan was talking about, the what then is the plan. What are you going to do with the place? What's your intended use for the place? Because that makes all the difference in where you look and the kind of tracks that you focus on, and also too, the kind of money that you're going to be putting at a place. The Farm Credit System, it's a federal charter for land banks around the country, and every state and even within the state is going to have different banks with different names that are part of the Farm Credit System, and you could Google that and probably can work with you better for rural real estate buys than your typical Wells Fargo, Chase's, Capital One kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think generally speaking, when you're looking at purchasing land, you need to deal with a real estate agent, especially if you're a first-time buyer. You want somebody with some expertise. You want to deal with somebody that eats, sleeps, and breathes land, that is familiar with not only rural land in general, but also the area that you're particularly interested in, because there are a lot of local customs, there are zoning regulations, there are things that are specific. You need somebody that's familiar with the area where you're looking to make that purchase. So you want to ask a lot of good questions. I've got a free download, a little ebook called The Basics of Buying Land. It has a list of 24 due diligence questions in there that you can kind of walk through.
I'll have a link to how you can get that booklet from Jonathan down in the description.
And then the last thing I would say is if you're buying a property and this property needs to work for a home site or your camp or something like that, and it doesn't already have utilities or improvements, get cost estimates on those things up front. If this property will only work if I can get power to this property for $10,000 or less, you need to know that before you go in. You are assuming that it costs $2.50 a linear foot to run water in there, and it's $14 a linear foot. I ran into that. Ask a lot of questions and make very few assumptions. Make sure that you're going to be able to get the right fit with a piece of land and the improvements that you want to do inside your budget.
Let me give you a quick example of how that works in real life. Recently sold a 72-acre tract suitable for a home site, even though it's pine timberland tract, but high rolling ground, blacktop frontage, and it was just under a quarter of a mile the end of a water line. And so the gentleman was thinking, hey, it'll be no problem to run water. So he just made that assumption. Well, I called the little rural water company and asked about it, and it was going to cost about $12,000. Wow. I told him that. That killed the deal for him. We ended up making some other calls and got some other information. He's going to put down a well, but he was going to go into it sort of just making assumptions, and $12,000 is a big assumption to make on a 70-acre tract.
You want to be educating yourself as much as you can. One resource that we both promote and add content for, our friends over in Atlanta, Georgia, landthink.com, they have a lot of great articles that provide insights into rural land.
People in different parts of the country wanting to find a land agent to help them, because I've given the same speech you have there about use a knowledgeable guy or ladies, somebody in the land business, and people ask me who to use. If somebody called you and go, hey, how do I get in touch with a good land guy in Arizona or whatever, right, what are you going to tell them?
So I'm involved with the Realtors Land Institute, which is a network of land brokers around the country. If somebody calls me and says, hey, I'm looking for land in Arizona, I'm going to think about who I know in my land broker network through the Realtors Land Institute, or I'm going to get on RLIland.com and I'm going to look for a land consultant or a land broker in that area. Word of mouth and asking questions, getting referrals, those sorts of things are always important when you're choosing the professional to work with. But if I was going to do it and I didn't know somebody right off the top of my head, you look at RLIland.com and look for a consultant that way. You know, get a good plan together, be able to articulate what you're looking for, and once you find that agent, really trust them. You're counting on them to give you the very best information that they can so that you can make the best decision possible. And just to reciprocate that, you need to give them the best information that you can so that they can help you make the best decision possible. He's going to know who the surveyor is for the area. He's going to know to make that call to the county. He's going to know who the local land bank lender is. And so having those relationships is worth a ton. You're not going to have to wade through closing attorneys or title companies that don't get the job done. You're going to get the very best team and the very best results and the fastest and most efficient outcome for your purchase. And so dealing with a land professional makes all the difference in the world.
Thanks for watching. There's some more videos right there about helping you with a first-time purchase, or even if you're a pro and you're just wanting to learn some more stuff, check out some of our other videos. They're right there. Jonathan, we appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. Man.